All right, this is 1.7, solving and writing equations from word problems. And you should be able to, after this, form a word problem, or form an equation and solve it, given just some stuff in a word problem. Right, so here is the first one. I'm going to show you two ways to do it. I guess two ways to do it. First, I'm going to show you just like building the equation from the stuff given in the words, and then unit analysis, NAY analysis. All right, so let's have at it. I probably spelled analysis wrong. Sorry about that. Okay, so here we go. Here we have someone had some candy, give to her children. She took 10 pieces for herself and then to divide the rest among. How much did she read to 2 pieces? Okay, so we just have to identify some variables here and some constants and stuff like that. All right, so she had, they have words in here that are numbers and all that other stuff. So has some candy to give to her four children. Right, so we're going to say, how are we going to call this? We have number of children. Number of kids equals 4. Okay, and she took the first 10 pieces for herself. So this is going to be candy for self, and then evenly divided the rest among her children. This is going to be candy for kids. Okay. Each child received 2 pieces. Okay, each child received 2 pieces. So the child for kids equals 2. Okay, how many pieces did she have to start with? So this is the candy initial, right? This is the how many pieces did she have to start with, is candy initial. And this is what we're trying to solve for, our candy initial. Okay, so we kind of start filling in the blanks here, right? She gave 4, she had some candy for her 4 children. How many number of kids was 4? We already identified that. Kids to herself, she took 10 pieces for herself. This was 10. And then each children received 2 pieces. So now we have to kind of like build the equation for what we know. All right, so children candy initial equals, and we're going to be like, okay, well, the amount of candy that she had before is going to be, well, how many did she give her kids? Well, first she had 10 for herself, right? So they had the candy initial, then she took 10 for herself. All right, so the candy initial, and she took 10 for herself, right? Which is going to be minus candy for herself, right? That's what she had left to give to her kids. Okay, so then we're going to have candy final. Candy final equals 0, but that's fine. Equals candy initial minus the candy to self minus, and then what she gave to the kids would have been would have been 2, but it's going to be, let's see, evenly amongst herself. So it'd be the number of kids, it'd be the number of kids times kids per candy per kid. Candy per kid, right? So this is another one we didn't really identify. This is our candy per kid. So candy per kid. All right, so there we go. That's what we kind of figured out there, and we need to identify the initial there. Okay. The initial candy. because we know that this is 0. There's no candy left. All right, so now we can go ahead and start bouncing the equation here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this term. Since this is 0 over here, I'm going to move it over to this term and make it positive. All right, so this is going to be the number of kids times the candy per kid, candy per kid is going to be equal to candy initial minus candy per self, SELF. All right, so that is one thing that we need. Okay, and now we just need to isolate this term right there, and so meaning that we need to add candy per self to both sides. So we need to add candy to self for this side. We're kind of running out of space here. Candy per self for this side. Self. So this means that the initial candy initial equals the number of kids times the number of candy per kid plus the candy per self. So we can just drop it in here. The candies per kid, we already know that is 2 pieces, plus the candy per self, which is 10 pieces. So she has 4 children. Okay, so it's 4 children times 2 plus 18, so this is going to be 18 plus 10. She had 28 pieces total. So that's that one. That's how you figure that out algebraically. All right, so there is that one. Okay, so here we have another one. Let's see if we can figure out this one. All right, so we had 24 pencils, $24 spent on pencils, and after buying, she had $10 left. Right? How much did each pencil cost? All right. So this one here, we have $24. This is our cost initial. This is our dollars initial, right? And then this is our dollars final. And then this is the number of pencils. And then this is our pencil cost. And that's pretty much it, right? So we're trying to figure out how much did each pencil cost, right? So what we're going to do here is say our dollars final equals our dollars initial minus the dollars spent. And we're going to say, hey, our dollars spent equals the dollars per pencil times the number of pencils. All right, so what we don't know is how much each pencil costs. That's our variable. All right, so now we need to solve for our variable. Before we do that, we're going to take this term and put it in here. We're going to substitute. All right, so we're going to do dollars final equals dollars initial minus our number of pencils. Oops, that's the wrong variable. The dollars per pencil. Oh, that's what we're trying to figure out. Our dollars per pencil. Pencil times the number of pencils. Number of pencils. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a note card and continue this on a note card. All right, so now we're going to isolate our variable. In order to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna subtract this from both sides, our initial from both sides. It's $1. So dollar final minus dollar initial equals negative dollar pencil plus or times the dollar, some number of pencils. All right, now I need to get this by itself, right? So I'm going to multiply both sides by the thing I need to detach that from. All right, so I'm going to multiply both sides, and I want to make it positive. All right, so I'm going to multiply both sides. So let me rewrite this, I guess. It should be negative over here. So, well, I guess that's fine. So I'm going to rewrite both sides. I'm going to multiply both sides by negative p. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this side by negative p, and I'll multiply this side by negative p, and that's going to make this negative dollar final minus dollar initial divided by the number of pencils equals the dollar pencils. Okay, so the dollar final was $10 minus $24 divided by 7 equals, is the number of pencils, what's the dollars per pencil? So then I have negative $14 divided by 7 equals negative 2, and so the negative of this, the negative of negative 2 is so this is negative 2 here, negative 2, that's negative 2. The negative of negative 2 is positive 2. So this is 2, that's $2 per pencil. And the reason it's just turned out to be negative negative is instead of moving this term over here, I moved this term over to here. All right, so that is how we do algebra to figure out this stuff. Okay, so now let me show you how to do it using unit analysis. Let's say we have, I'm going diving with, we'll say 7 friends, 7 divers. Zoom out a little. 7 divers. Okay, now maybe zoom in a little more. I have 7 divers who are going diving, and we're traveling to a dive spot that's 280 miles away, one way, right? So that means that both ways it's 460 miles away. Okay, and where fuel price is $3.60 per mile, so dollars per mile, and $7 per mile, and my vehicle that we're going to be taking while it tows all of our trailer with all our gear gets like 10.3 gallons per mile. Okay, and I want to know, and we're all going to split the gas. We're all going to split the fuel. Okay, so we need to know how much each diver is going to pay in fuel. So that's going to be dollars per diver is the answer, the units for the answer that we're looking for. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up what we call some railroad tracks. I'll do it like this. I'm going to set up some railroad tracks here. And I know I'm looking for dollars per diver in my answer. So that means the only thing I look for stuff that has dollars in the units. All right, so there's that has dollars in the units. So this has to be used with $3.60 on top, and in my numerator, and mile on the bottom. Okay, and I know that divers has to go on the bottom because that's where my unit ends up. So 7 divers. So this gives me the units of $3 per mile diver, right? So that's not dollars per diver. That's $3 per mile diver, which is not what I'm looking for. So now I need to look at, so I used diver, and I've used and I've used dollars per mile, or yeah, dollars per. Oh, why did I write mile? That's dollars per gallon. Sorry about that. Dollars per gallon diver. Sorry, my units are dollars per gallon diver, not dollar mile. Why did I think that made sense? So dollars per gallon. Okay. Anyway, I don't know where my mind was there. So it's dollars per gallon. Okay, is my unit for how much gas costs. So anyway, this is dollars per gallon. So my units are now going to be $3.60 per gallon diver, which doesn't make any sense at all, right? But I got to look to see what other units I have to use, right? Well, in order to cancel out my gallon unit, I need to figure out which of my units have a gallon in it, and this is what I have. This has gallons in it, right? So I need to arrange it so that I put 10.3 gallons on top, and that puts miles on the bottom, and that will cancel out gallons. I no longer have my gallons there. So now I have $360. I have dollars per diver mile. Okay, now I got to figure out to put miles. I got to figure out how to get rid of miles on the bottom. So now I have to take this 460 miles. I got a free spot here, so I'll put miles there, 460 miles, and I'll put, I'll cancel out the miles. I'll cancel out the miles, and now all I have left is dollars per diver, and that's what I'm looking for, right? So now that I have all that done, all I need to do is bring up a calculator, bring up a calculator. I'll pause this while I go get one. Now I have a calculator, and all I got to do is multiply the stuff on the top and divide it by the stuff on the bottom, and I'm done. So I have 360 times 40 times 10, and I'm going to divide it by, I forgot to put my number of miles there, 460 miles. So I'm going to divide this by 7, and I'm divided again by 460, and it's going to be $44.72 per diver. Okay, so that's how you figure that kind of stuff out using unit analysis. All right, it's just lining up everything, and then how do I build an equation based upon this? Well, I just go my cost per diver is going to be equal to, and then I look at what I did. I'm going to go my fuel economy times my mileage times my so that's my fuel economy times my fuel price CE divided by the number of divers times the on the bottom the number of miles, and that's that, right? And maybe I get a discount, right? And I'm like, okay, minus like a $10 discount. Maybe I got like a $10 gas card or something, right? And that's how I would do that, right? Because this is dollars per diver. Okay, because that's going to give me dollars. Okay. All right. So hopefully that helps. So this is a pretty complicated one, right? It's a lot of different factors that go into that one. Whereas the other ones there's not as many factors that go into that one. So hope that makes sense. And if you have any questions, let me know.